talking about the TAS visits that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Gotten to know a lot of members. A lot of the times during those visits, members will approach me individually and try to pull me away from the group, kind of ask me questions so that the superintendent doesn't necessarily know what I'm saying. I mean, how do you handle a situation like that?
Well, I think you should avoid it if you can. In their situation, sometimes you cannot. But I would make sure, I would do the best I could to make sure that my message is the same as my superintendent's message, or even, you know, again, there's times that you and Charlie are going to disagree. I've been there. And, you know, it's a matter of, that may be the case, but as far as when that person pulls you off to the side, that's not the time to, you know, disagree with, you know, your boss. That's the time to say, you know, well, you know, maybe that's something, you know, we can talk to Charlie about, or, you know, that's something we should talk about together or whatever, to not put yourself, you know, into that, you know, bad situation. You know, Matt talked about the dissension issue and tempers and everything else. At the Open, Matt and I saw eye to eye on most stuff. We did not see eye to eye on everything. And the message, though, was all the time that he and I agreed, we have to walk into a meeting with your people and my people at 2:30. And when we walk into that meeting, whatever we decide is going to be decided. So at no point, whether we agreed or disagreed, did we walk into the meeting and it was like, oh, well, Matt wants to do this, I don't agree with it, or whatever. So we made sure we worked it out before. And I think that in the same situation, when you've got the people that you are reporting to, you've got to make sure you're on the same page with, you know, in your case, Charlie or whatever, because you don't want to, you know, you may not be giving a wrong answer, but it may not be shed Charlie in a positive light. So
that'll happen in your career all the time. It just happened to me not long ago. We had our club president has a sometimes contentious relationship with my green chairman. So he wanted to meet with me privately and not my green chairman. So it's a pretty precarious situation. So I just told him I don't believe in jumping chain. So if you want to talk to me, then I want my green chairman present. Otherwise, I'm not talking to you. And he accepted that, thankfully, because I'm here talking to you instead of sending Bruce a resume.
This would be 20 pages long.
The only other thing I'd add to that, Cedric, is I actually have an instance, and there's no need to mention clubs or anything else, where it was obvious that a superintendent was on their way out the door, and the assistant chose to undermine or align himself with the members rather than the superintendent, thinking that, you know, maybe slide into the job. Well, when the decision was made, he was let go too, because the green chairman said, that's not the way I want somebody to do business. So
diplomacy is very, very important. And again, category of stuff they don't teach at turf school. Learn from your mentors. You know, what would Matt do? What would Bruce do? What would they do in that situation? And I'll share a quick story with you. Josh is familiar with it because he was there at the time, but I actually had a second assistant that worked for me at LA Country Club that, and I'm a big guy on loyalty. We can disagree behind closed doors, but collectively we've got to be on the same page when we go out there with our game plan. And this individual chose to gallivant around with some of the members that were negative influences at the club and go to watering holes and drink with them and, you know, air all dirty laundry and everything else. And surprisingly enough, wrote a 6, 7, 8 page document and sent it to the president of the club and the board of directors of the club about what was wrong on the golf course, and what he actually threw the general manager under the bus. It's bad enough to throw me under the bus. General manager, myself, and his direct superintendent under the bus, that we didn't know what we were doing. I think collectively we had about 20 years of university training, and this fellow was a graduate of a, you know, short course. So the way it works is that came to me through the general manager, and the guy was dismissed the same day. And the general manager didn't tell me to dismiss him. He said, "What are you going to do about this?" I said, "It'll be taken care of before the day's over." And that fella, I don't know how many years ago that was. It had to be over 10 or 11, 10 years ago, maybe, Josh, something like that, maybe.
No, it was about 6 years.
Was it only that long ago? 6 years ago. When you get older, time loses value. But with that, has not been able to find a job. Well, called me last year, asked me if he could use me as a reference. I mean, there's dumb and there's dumber. Why would he be I'd be a reference for him? So, what comes around goes around. You have to be very, very careful. I wouldn't do anything to harm him, but I wouldn't do anything to help him. And he didn't learn his lesson. So you don't want to be that guy.